After 7 years with Tina, I finally got married. Her friends made jokes about it, saying I finally got my chance. But nobody really knew that it took Tina 3 whole years to convince me to be with her. On our wedding day, Tina's other boyfriend showed up and caused a scene. Tina pretended to be on my side in front of everyone, but later that night she secretly spent time with him. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just quietly went somewhere else for the night. When we tried to get married again, Tina lost it. She showed up at my wedding with someone else, wearing her own wedding dress, trying to stop it. I just watched her calmly, and as she looked on in pain, I put the ring on my new wife's finger. 10 years after I first met Tina, she hugged me playfully and said, "Ben, a guy like you is perfect for a first love." Her words touched me and made my eyes water a bit. First love is supposed to be something you get over, the one you can't have. I thought she was breaking up with me, but then Tina kissed my tear-stained eyes. Her voice was very persuasive, but I wasn't the type to chase after something unattainable. I wanted to achieve things myself. Surprisingly, Tina stood in front of me holding a ring box, looking hopeful. She tilted her head, unable to hide her excitement. "Ben, let's get married," she said. When I put that cold blue diamond ring on her finger, I really thought we were going to be happy forever. I was ready to be her husband. I even had ideas for our future children's names. But 3 months after we got engaged, a cheerful young man appeared by Tina's side. When I first asked her about him, just mentioning his name seemed to annoy her. "He's just an innocent kid who hasn't faced the real world yet," she said. The boy's name was Eric, and he was as bright as his name suggested. Fresh out of college, he joined Tina's company through their recruitment program, doing well because of his good grades and skills. On his first day, he and Tina practically bumped into each other in the elevator. Acting like it was no big deal, she docked his pay for the day. He didn't complain or get upset. After work, he handed Tina a handwritten note with a smile. Eric admits his fault. Eric shouldn't have been so careless at work, nor bumped into Miss Tina. Luckily, Miss Tina wasn't hurt. Eric sincerely apologizes. "Yes, Miss Tina smells nice, like roses." I found this note when Tina brought it home. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Tina just laughed at it, snatched it, and threw it into the shredder. Then she pushed me against the table and said, "Don't mind him, he's just a weirdo." Yet, a month later, this awkward Eric, Tina's so-called weirdo, stood out among all the interns. His desk was moved into Tina's office, and he became her personal assistant. This kind of personal assistant didn't seem to have much to do with actual work. His main jobs were making coffee, ordering food for Tina, putting a jacket on her when she took a nap, and bringing her honey water when she drank too much. It seemed pretty normal, I guess, but when Tina came home, she'd complain about Eric at dinner. She'd grumble about how clumsy he was. She didn't even realize that as she talked about him, her eyes would light up, which hurt me. I put my fork down and asked, "Is there nothing other than Eric you can talk to me about?" Tina looked surprised, then chuckled. "Sure thing, hubby," she said. Yet, the next day, a company employee sent me a photo. Eric couldn't fit into the regular elevator, so Tina pulled him into the executive elevator by his hand. That night, I got a friend request online. The name was just Eric. I accepted it, and he politely reached out. "Ben, I'm Eric. I added you because I know how much Tina loves to drink. Sometimes she drinks too much and just passes out at the office. I can't always be there, so I got your contact information from her. I'll let you know if she ever gets too drunk." In just a few sentences, he acted like he was in charge, as if he were the fiancé. I didn't reply, and he never messaged again. Out of curiosity, I checked his social media. It was full of perfectly posed photos with playful captions. One said, "Burned my hand making hand-ground coffee for the boss today," but instead of taking the cup, she held my hand, announcing it as my happiest moment of the day. And there was a picture of his reddened hand. Another post said, "My boss always calls me clumsy, yet she has me do everything. Even when she's working on contracts, she asks me to feed her." I can't help it, though. She's the boss. The picture showed Tina's office desk and her holding a pen. Looking at these bits and pieces, it easily seemed like a couple showing off their love. I looked at my own social media. Just a few promotional posts for friends, no trace of Tina, no hint of love. I thought for a bit, then shared our wedding invitation. We had sent out invitations to family and friends a while ago, so an online invitation felt pointless. I had never considered posting one online until now. After posting it, I realized, why was I getting so caught up with a young guy? Tina didn't come home for an entire week. No messages, no calls. When I called her, it was Eric who answered. Ben, Miss Tina is overseas for work right now, at a negotiation, so she can't take calls. I hung up quietly. What happened to Tina? It was like she suddenly forgot about me. Before, when she traveled for work, she would cling to me, wouldn't stop calling just to say goodnight. Now she was gone for a week and didn't even tell me she was leaving the country. The next day I saw Tina on the news. She was wearing a black dress that made her look sophisticated. She seemed confident and spoke fluent English about the company's future. She faced the media, but they were more interested in her personal life. We hear Miss Tina's wedding is near. Have you found the one you love? Her eyes sparkled. What I want, I have, she said. She controlled the business world with a firm hand and seemed to handle her love life the same way, like how she pursued me for 3 years. She really showed it all to the media. Anything you'd like to say to your partner? Tina looked at the camera, a smile playing on her lips. Wait for me at home, she said. But that night, and until the next evening, Tina didn't come home. I sat in the dark living room, wondering what she meant. Tina, how long do you want me to wait for you? My phone rang. It was a video call from Eric. I answered, and there was Eric with his usual cheerful smile. Ben, Tina always wants me to tell you she's got stuff to do tonight. She won't make it back. From the background noise, it sounded like he was at a bar. When Tina fell in love with me, she left the bar scene behind. During those 3 years of chasing me, we started meeting in fancy places for business after that. Now she was back in a bar, probably drunk. How did I know? Because before hanging up, Eric dropped his phone, and I caught a glimpse of Tina resting her head on his lap. My heart sank. I slumped back on the couch, my mind in chaos. That's fine, I thought. Isn't there something called pre-wedding jitters? Tina might just be too tired. We'll talk when she gets back, and it'll be all right. The next night, Tina finally returned. I had just showered and was ready to rest when the door opened behind me. Footsteps approached. The bed dipped, and I was wrapped in her embrace. She held me, her cool lips gently brushing my neck. Her voice was hoarse. Ben, I missed you. I want to hold you, to kiss you. My eyes felt heavy, but I lay still. I had waited for this moment for so long, yet when she finally returned, words escaped me. Forget it. Let's pretend I'm asleep, I thought. With Tina, my desires often came second when it came to affection. This time was no different. Her hand slipped under my pajamas. Not sleeping? She asked softly. I pushed her hand away. I'm really tired, I said. My voice sounded awful, even to me. It seemed to startle her. She quickly checked my forehead and hugged me tighter. What's wrong? Are you sick, feeling unwell? Why act so concerned? She had been gone for over 10 days without a word. I couldn't understand it, nor did I want to. I wrapped myself in the blanket, even covering my head. I need to sleep. Tina was sharp. She quickly sensed something. Propping herself above me, she asked, Are you mad? She rubbed my head through the blanket. Sweet husband, it's my fault. The trip was so rushed I didn't have time to tell you. It won't happen again. Our wedding is in 3 days, all right? The next morning, I woke up to find Tina had prepared a huge breakfast. I sat at the dining table, watching her in an apron, busying herself in the kitchen. It reminded me of when we first got together. Tina was used to a life of luxury and wasn't familiar with even basic chores. But during my hospital stay for a stomach flu, she learned to cook nutritious meals in just 3 days. I casually mentioned that they were delicious, and that sparked her interest in cooking. That's just how Tina is. Once she sets her mind to something, she excels at it. Now, after 7 years, her cooking is as good as any 5-star chef. She cooks all our meals at home. Thinking back, I hadn't eaten her cooking since I proposed. Watching Tina still washing vegetables, I interrupted, "It's just breakfast, you're making too much." Hearing my voice, she looked up at me, smiling. "You've lost weight. I bet you weren't eating right while I was gone. I need to fatten you up again," she said, frowning. "Don't you remember your stomach issues? You can't take care of yourself when I'm not around. How can I not worry?" I didn't respond, unsure of what to say. Once she finished with the last dish, she sat across from me. She used to sit right next to me, joking that we needed to be side by side no matter what. Without realizing it, she had begun to distance herself. "Really, don't wait for me. The food's better hot." I picked up my chopsticks, eating without thinking. The tension was heavy, making me crazy. I couldn't hold it in anymore and turned to her. "Tina, are you tired? Are you tired of this relationship?" Tina put her chopsticks down, ladled some soup, then gently pinched my cheek. "Not tired, just lots to handle at work right now. I'm clearing 2 months for us after the wedding." I blinked, instinctively asking, "For what?" She sighed with a smile. "Our trip to Iceland, silly. You said it yourself, remember?" A brief moment of uncertainty. Then I did recall. It was a memory from 8 years ago, back when she was trying to win me over. During a game of truth or dare, which I lost, she asked where I'd want to go for our honeymoon. I said Iceland without much thought, just blurting it out. But unexpectedly, she remembered for 8 years. I thought maybe I had misunderstood the situation with Eric. His actions seemed designed to cause trouble between Tina and me. I should trust Tina, trust the woman who had loved me for 10 years. I started to look forward to our wedding. On the wedding day, the banquet hall was buzzing with excitement. As Tina walked in wearing her wedding dress, all eyes turned to her. I moved towards Tina, towards the woman I was going to spend my life with. Suddenly, I overheard whispers among the crowd. "Even the underdog gets a chance sometimes. Keep trying and you'll get anything." Quite the handsome guy. Tina didn't make a mistake. Their tone was mocking. These were Tina's old friends, witnesses to her wild teenage years of drinking, clubbing, racing, and everything else. During her 3 years of pursuing me, I made it clear I didn't want such wild connections. For me, she distanced herself from them, only staying in touch occasionally. They thought I was restricting Tina's freedom, disliked me, and derisively called me her lapdog. Even now, their whispers were just loud enough for me to hear. I pretended not to notice. Today was the most important day of my life, and all these people didn't matter. It was just me and Tina, that's all that counted. As I walked up to Tina, I noticed her eyes were a bit red, tears shimmering in them. She held my hand tight, her voice shaking. "Ben, we're finally getting married." At that moment, everything else faded away. It was just her and the unmistakable love in her eyes. The officiant started the ceremony. The words were full of meaning, young and rich through sickness and health, till death do us part. "Do you take this vow?" Looking at Tina, I found myself smiling genuinely for the first time in days. "I do." Tina couldn't hold back her smile either. Her eyes burned with warmth. "You don't?" Suddenly, the door slammed open, It was Eric, wearing a white suit. He charged in, his eyes red and locked onto Tina. "Tina, you don't really want this, do you?" Silence took over the hall. Everyone stunned, including Tina. She was gripping my hand so tight it hurt, her beautiful brows furrowed as she looked at Eric. Eric flashed his usual bright smile. "Tina, I love you, and you know that, right? I know I'm not much, Ben. I don't know you, and I'm not the sweetest guy, but I love Tina more than you do. You have no idea how hard it was to put on this suit," he said, holding out his hand to Tina. "Tina, come with me. I don't care if I'm called a third wheel. I just want to be with the one I love." He was there to crash the wedding. Standing there, I felt a chill run through me. Without makeup, my face would look awful right now. My hand really hurt. Tina's grip was too strong, like she was trying to break my knuckles. I saw the glint in her eyes, but heard her cold words instead. "Where's security? How did someone without an invitation get in? Get him out of here." Eric's smile froze, shocked. He looked at Tina like he couldn't believe her cruelty. Maybe he thought he knew her better. Tina once called him foolish, and he proved her right. He was willing to be a secret lover, but Tina wouldn't be a public scandal. As a billionaire CEO, her reputation was everything. Just a small scandal could cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. He obviously underestimated her. Trying not to cry, Eric blinked away his tears. "Tina, I thought you felt the same about me." He thought this would win her over, but Tina, her arm around my waist, looked at him with undisguised contempt. "Eric, what gave you that idea? Ben is the love of my life. My husband can only be him. You're my assistant, and you crossed the line." With her words, Eric was escorted out by security amid a flurry of whispers. My breath caught. It hurt so much. Tina's attitude showed no flaw, and if not for the force of her embrace, I think she truly loathed Eric. Seeing my flushed face, Tina looked flustered. "Sorry, honey. I should have secured the venue better. I didn't mean for him to interrupt our wedding." After calming me down, she turned to the guests. "Sorry for the interruption. I hope it didn't spoil your mood." Then, under the officiant's guidance, Tina slipped a ring onto my finger. I was distracted. It took gentle nudges from her to place the ring on her finger, too. After a long day, the wedding wrapped up. In the car, Tina leaned against my shoulder. I wanted to move away but had no energy, so I let her rest there. Drifting off, I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was on the wedding bed, alone. The night was eerily quiet. "Tina?" I called out. There was no answer but the pounding of my heart. On this first night of our marriage, she wasn't home. I called her. Eric answered instead. "Ben, why aren't you asleep?" My heart skipped a beat, and breathing became hard. Eric's laughter reached my ears. "Happy wedding, Ben. And to me, too. She kicked me out earlier. But not for you. She came to my place tonight. She told me she didn't want to make a scene. She kissed me, called me husband. We had our own wedding night." I hurled the phone at the wall. Our freshly decorated home now had a fresh scratch. Standing up, I tore off my clothes, ripping them to shreds. What I couldn't tear, I bit. Glancing up at my reflection in the window, I snapped back to reality. What happened? What was I doing? Disheveled hair looking like a madman, I broke down, tears turning to laughter. "Tina, you always know how to hurt me deeply. I was so foolish, taking her word as truth and baring my heart to her. I won't let you hurt me again," I thought with determination. I packed and left the wedding house that night. I didn't look back. Every detail of this place was imprinted in my mind. There was no need to see it again. I didn't want to stay in a hotel. Tina could easily find me. So I dialed a number I hadn't called in 10 years. A familiar voice picked up. "Hello? Who's this?" There was a surprise. She hadn't changed her number. "It's me, Ben. I said calmly. She sounded shocked. You're not dead? Not dead, believe it or not. She was my mother, only biologically. Wendy, I need to crash at your place. 10 grand, I offered. Wendy's tone immediately warmed. No need for money, dear. Just come home. It's been 10 years. I've missed you. The next morning, I arrived at the old concrete house. Wendy rushed out to greet me. 10 years haven't changed you much, she said. Money does wonders, I replied, lowering my gaze. She had changed a lot. 10 years ago, the last time I saw her, she had a head full of black hair and a strong attitude. Now she had a lot of gray hair, and she had learned to flatter a bit. I transferred 100 grand to her account from my phone. She was all smiles as she tidied up a room for me. As I looked around, I noticed she lived alone. Why are you alone? I casually asked during dinner. Wendy looked down, shoveling food in her mouth, and faked a laugh. Bad luck for them. Good luck for me. At least I lived long enough for you to come back with money. Her tone was light, but tears fell into her bowl. I found out later that both her husband and son had died 5 years ago. In those 5 years, she had been paying off her husband's debts, forgetting how to even smile. Looking at her wrinkled face, I wanted to ask if she regretted it. Her husband was my stepfather. I was the result of a brief relationship she had with my dad when they were both 17. They barely finished middle school and couldn't afford to raise me. After I was born, they left me with my elderly grandma. Wendy refused to marry my dad, choosing instead a guy who always wore a suit and tie. She got pregnant with his kid when I was 7 and left my dad to marry him. My dad hated her and, by extension, hated me too. He got so mad he wanted to stab me. Grandma stopped him, but he went after Wendy instead. On the way, he was hit by a truck and died instantly. Grandma somehow raised me on the small compensation we got. When I was 17, Grandma was in an accident at the same spot Dad had died. She survived but needed expensive surgery, and I had no money. I went door to door in the village, begging on my knees, but nobody would lend me a dime because we had no support in the family, and they thought it was a lost cause. Being underage, I couldn't get a loan. That's when I remembered the mom I hadn't seen since I was 7. I found her place, cried, and knelt, banging my head, begging for the 80,000 I needed. Wendy chased me off with a broom, telling me to get lost, saying I brought bad luck. I clung to her leg. Mom, please, I'll pay you back 100,000, okay? Before she could reply, her husband kicked my shoulder. Scram, you little pest. He then warned Wendy, if you give him anything, you'll regret it. After he left, she shut the door on me, telling me even if she wanted to help, she couldn't. The old one had her time, let her go. As I turned to leave, heartbroken, she added, I'm not your mother. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. That year, I lost both my mom and grandma, left alone in the world. Wendy's husband got killed over some loan shark business. When they came to collect, she found out her husband had debts from pretending to be rich and spending on online personalities. Luckily, the loan sharks got arrested, and the debt to them was wiped. But they still owed the banks. Before Wendy cleared those debts, 6 months after her husband's death, her son was diagnosed with cancer. Without money, she begged door to door, too, but no one helped. They called it karma. People would gossip. Guess her son's no angel either. He inherited her bad luck, and now he's gone. It makes you wonder if during those times, Wendy thought about me, once in her shoes without options. Now Wendy wasn't fierce. She was timid, always seeking approval. Was she unforgivable? Maybe not. All she did was fall out of love, pursue wealth, and refuse to lend me money. It was understandable. What I couldn't forgive was her cutting me off in my most desperate moment, fearing I'd ask her again. Even though I'm staying here, Wendy and I have nothing to say to each other. She's careful, and I just pretend not to notice. I'll be here for a short time. Once my job is sorted, I'm gone. I specialize in emerald appraisal, and I'm naturally gifted. I've never misjudged a stone. I've been in this field even while dating Tina, but quit to plan our wedding 6 months ago. That company was too close to Tina. I don't want to go back. I want something new. Half a month in, and no job offer yet. But then, a huge man barged in. He burst in holding a knife high. "Run!" Still in shock, Wendy rushed out from the kitchen. Warm blood splattered on my face. It was the first time I'd seen anything like this, and my legs were frozen. The scene was chaotic. I saw him stab Wendy a few more times. Then someone came in, stopping the attacker. Suddenly, I was pulled into a comforting embrace. Tina's voice trembled. "Thank God you're safe." How did she end up here? But that wasn't the concern right now. I pushed her away and stumbled to Wendy. She lay there, blood pooling around her. She looked at me, breathing out, "It's over. It's over." They took Wendy to the hospital for emergency care. Tina went with me to the police station, and right at the station we bumped into Eric. He lunged at Tina, his eyes red with fear. "Tina, I'm scared!" Tina dodged him, her face steely. "Why are you here?" Eric shot me an unnoticed glare, thinking it was my presence that made Tina hold back. The cops called me down. Later I found out that the man swinging the knife was Eric's dad, Gene. Gene used to be a loan shark. 5 years ago he accidentally killed Wendy's husband with a group of people, and Wendy took him to court. He got 8 years but was released early for good behavior. As soon as he got out, his first thought was to kill Wendy, whom he had hated for 5 years. If Tina hadn't shown up, Wendy wouldn't have been the only one. "Dad, I could have been too." Knowing Eric's dad was a murderer rattled Tina. Tina's company was a big corporation. New hires had to pass background checks. But Eric's parents divorced when he was young, and he used his mom's last name, so Gene's past didn't officially affect him. Still, him being the son of a killer mattered to Tina. Eric didn't care. He tried to brush it off with Tina. "It's just some injuries," he said. "No one died. Can't we just pay for it and move on, Tina?" Tina didn't even glance at him. She asked me, "How do you want to handle this?" I pressed my lips together, turned to the police, and said, "Do whatever needs doing. I trust the police." Gene was detained. As we left the station, Eric trailed behind Tina, sulking. "Why won't you talk to me? Are you dumping me? Ugh, this sucks." I pushed away Tina's hand. "Go cheer up your boy toy. I'm heading to the hospital." Even if there's no mother-son bond, she did jump in to protect me first. I should check on her. But Tina pulled me into her car, driving me herself. We left Eric shouting from the sidewalk. Tina gripped the steering wheel, no longer angry. "Okay, come back. What just happened was so dangerous I almost lost you," she said, reaching out. "I thought I was the unreasonable one." I looked out the window expressionlessly. "It wasn't almost, Tina. You did lose me." A sudden stop. Tina unbuckled and hugged me tightly. "Nonsense," she gritted her teeth. "Ben, that's nonsense. We just had our wedding. You're my husband. Everyone knows that. Where else would you go?" I frowned. "Tina, you know you can't just stop anywhere on the road, right?" But she only looked at me. "Ben, promise you won't leave me, okay?" I finally got serious. "We had a wedding, sure, but there's no marriage license, right?" Tina seemed to freeze just then. I caught on, smiling slightly. What did Tina forget? That on the day we planned to get our license, you went abroad with Eric. She didn't take my calls or even text back. She outright forgot our license day. At first, I truly believed she was busy and simply forgot. She'd reach out once she had time. What a fool. Doesn't waiting for a reply sound pathetic? Thankfully, I don't wait anymore. Tina seemed to realize her fault, falling silent as she restarted the car, driving us to the hospital. When we got out, I heard her tense voice. "I'm sorry." Inside, Wendy was awake. She was lying face down, having been cut 3 times on the back. The wounds were deep, but the doctor said none were fatal. Wendy struggled to lift her head to look at me, her eyes red, her gray hair making her seem pitiful. Pitiful. Maybe we both were. I tucked her blanket in, then turned to leave. She grabbed my wrist. "Ben, will you come see me again?" Her eyes were full of hope. My fingers stiffened, and after a while, I freed myself. "No, Wendy. 10 years ago, you said we were done." I left without looking back. I heard her cry before shutting the door. First a suppressed sob, then full-on wailing. She was regretting it. But wasn't it too late? Damn, why did my eyes sting too? Leaving the hospital, I knew Tina waited by the entrance, so I took a long detour out the side gate instead. Wendy and Tina, they both hurt me, and I didn't want to face them anymore. The side street led out to an alley. I turned a corner and almost got hit by a speeding bike. The rider swerved and fell hard. "Watch where you're going," she yelled, annoyed. I rushed over to help. When she saw me, her angry look softened. "No, sorry, I wasn't looking. You're okay, right?" I stayed silent, helping her up. She clung to my arm a bit longer than needed. "Ouch, my knee. I might be hurt," she said. I bent to check and saw a tear in her loose pants, blood seeping out. This girl clearly pinned this on me. "Can you take me home, please? The hospital's just around the corner." "I've got medicine at home. It's just a scrape," she insisted. Avoiding the hospital, I sighed and grabbed my phone. "What's your address?" Her eyes lit up, and she rattled off her address. I froze. It was a high-end neighborhood, even more exclusive than the rich area. People there usually have money and power. Tina had wanted our wedding house there, but it was too much. "Looks like I've got myself in a jam riding my bike," she said, sitting back, hands around my waist, chatting away. Her name was Linda, a college student. "I'm getting my PhD," she added, impressive. I dropped her off at her place. The building had 1 apartment per floor, fancy stuff. I guided her inside, intending to leave at the door. She grabbed my shirt. "Don't go, please. I feel a bit dizzy." These days, the lengths people go to start a conversation. I didn't want to engage, but saw her flushed face. Remembering how warm she felt when I helped her earlier, I realized she had a fever. A quick check confirmed it. I couldn't just leave her, so I helped her in. Lucky she had a first aid kit at home. After tending to her wound and putting on a fever patch, I was exhausted and collapsed on the ground. She was half conscious. I planned to leave once her fever subsided a bit, but an hour passed, and not only did she not get better, she felt even hotter. It freaked me out, so I called an ambulance right away. At the hospital, the doctor put her on an IV drip and frowned seriously. Luckily, we got her there in time. If the fever continued, she could have suffered brain damage. It was that serious. She's a young PhD student. That wouldn't have been good at all. After the doctor left, I glanced at the IV. It had a lot left. I got up to head to the bathroom, but just as I reached the door, someone grabbed me and shoved me against the wall. Tina, holding my waist, glanced into the room at the woman on the bed and frowned deeply. "Ben? Who is she?" She was always jealous back then, and any woman around me would make her see red. She was my girlfriend back in the day, but now I looked at her evenly. "Does it matter to you?" "Ben, you're my husband. Why are you taking care of another woman? You're supposed to take care of me first." "I'm not your husband. We never got married. I wasn't the one at the altar with you," I said, staring at her. "Secondly, I'll care for whoever I want, but not you." Tina's eyelashes trembled, as if her air supply had been cut off, her voice soft. "You know everything. Your new boyfriend was so eager to let the world know you chose him. How could I not know? You hoped I'd stay clueless and wait for you at home, right? No, listen to me. I love only you. Please believe me." "Okay, Tina," I said calmly. I laughed. Believe Tina? Do you think there's anything left for me to believe in? I remembered something suddenly and spoke slowly, repeating her words from that night. He's all looks and not much else. He's clingy, can't live without me, and would die without me. But losing him doesn't bother me. He's so distant and dull. Acting all high and mighty is tiring. Tina quickly covered my mouth. Stop, she pleaded, looking pale, her voice barely audible. Please, Ben, stop. What is it? You can't take hearing your own words? I pushed her hand away. No, I have more to say. Are you surprised I heard that? Tina, the night you returned from abroad, Eric called me. After we hung up on the video chat, he called again, and I heard drunk Tina telling Eric and her so-called friends about me. Because of your words, they all saw me as your lapdog. I watched Tina's tense lips, brushed her cheek lightly with my hand. Tina, why did you do that? You reached for the moon, then complained it's cold. Did you not know it was cold before you went for it? The hospital room door suddenly swung open. Linda, holding the IV pole, came out and pushed Tina aside. Get away. Tina, unprepared, stumbled. Before I could react, Linda was in front of me. She bent forward, pressing her soft lips against mine. My mind went blank. Her kiss was gentle, not aggressive, just light and fleeting. Bastard! Tina shouted, grabbing Linda's collar and pulling her back before slapping her. Linda, unwilling to back down, slapped her in return, and they started to fight. Enough! I tried to separate them, but failed until medical staff came and pulled them apart. Both ended up with scratches on their faces, neither looking any better than the other. After getting treated, they glared at each other in the room, neither yielding. Touch my boyfriend again and you're dead, Tina spat. Linda scoffed. I heard you didn't even get married. How's he your boyfriend? She raised her perfectly shaped eyebrows at me. Hey, big bro, look at me. I'm young, I'm pretty, I'm rich, and I won't cheat. Shut up! Tina tried to lunge at her again, but I held her back. She looked up at me, stunned. Ben, you're helping her? Whatever I do doesn't concern you. Leave. She didn't move. I repeated, Tina, I'm done with you. For a moment, Tina's straight-backed form crumpled, her demeanor so fragile it seemed it might shatter. And that's it? She asked softly. I gave no answer. Not long after, Tina left, her form lonely and defeated. Meanwhile, Linda was beaming. What are you smiling about? I don't want you either, I said bluntly. Her smile disappeared instantly. Why not give it a shot? I'm not after your money or your heart. I just want your attention, that's all. No harm in trying, she said, trying to persuade me. I took 2 steps back, keeping my distance from her. I don't trust you. It's not that I don't believe in love anymore, just not as easily, especially with someone who's just in their 20s. Come to think of it, I was in my 20s when I started dating Tina. 20-year-old Tina had bright, sparkling eyes too, would sweet-talk me, pledging eternal love. Yet, 7 years later, her heart changed, didn't it? Women's words, big or small, can't be trusted. Linda seemed unsatisfied. Seeing she wasn't as injured anymore, I turned and left. That day was packed with trouble, but at least one good thing happened. At night, I got a job offer. My new journey would start the next day. On my first day, my skilled eye helped me appraise several valuable pieces of jade worth millions. My coworkers were impressed, though they gossiped more about my marriage than my skills. At that wedding, there were reporters, and nearly everyone knew that at that grand wedding, someone showed up in a tux to crash it, and the bride firmly chose her groom. One of my colleagues noticed my bare finger. Why aren't you wearing a wedding ring? Honestly, it annoyed me. I just wanted to move on, but everything seemed to keep dragging me back to Tina. I couldn't shake her off. About a week later, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. It was one of Tina's friends, someone who once mocked me for being her pushover. Ben, why are you unsatisfied with Tina? She spent a decade on you. You think you can just walk away? What is Tina to you? Ridiculous. They accused me of not being worthy of Tina, yet blamed me for leaving her. Wasn't I part of her decade? Where's her loss? Without me, she's still the big boss, with plenty of men wanting to be with her. There will always be guys like Eric in the future. Why waste time on a boring guy like me? Instead of blaming me, they should care for her more. Let her have fun, but keep her personal life in check. If she gets sick, no one can fix it. After that, I blocked them without hesitation. Maybe she relayed what I said to Tina. A few days later, news came out that Eric was under investigation. The charges were financial crimes and leaking company secrets. Is it true? Definitely not. I've been with Tina for 7 years and never took any secrets from her company. Even when we were madly in love, there's no way Eric, who's just an assistant, would have access. So, this must be Tina's doing. That's ruthless, targeting a man she's been with like that. Considering my past experiences, it's not surprising. Tina is heartless, a total jerk. That night, just as I got off work, this jerk showed up drunk and kissed me against a wall. "Don't go, come back," she slurred. Disgusting. Just made me want to throw up. How dare she use lips that have kissed others on me? "Tina, let go of me. Don't make me hate you," I said, trying to push her away. Drunk Tina was even more unreasonable. She didn't care that we were outside, shamelessly sliding her hand under my shirt. I screamed, "Go away, Tina! Leave!" Then there was a thud, and Tina stumbled to the ground. Linda stood there, swinging a baseball bat. "Harassing people." "Not on my watch," she sneered. When she saw me, she hesitated. "It's you!" Then dropped the bat and quickly approached. "Brother, you okay?" Shocked, I shook my head. What wouldn't Tina do? I was scared to think. Linda, furious, kicked Tina a couple of times, then grabbed my hand. "I'll take you home." Seeing me hesitate, she softened. "Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you." Linda walked me home and left, looking back often, saying goodbye repeatedly. I could tell she liked me. The brightness in her eyes was even greater than Tina's at 20, but I couldn't respond. I was someone recently hurt by love, broken and battered. I couldn't give her the same love in return. I decided to just focus on work, live well, and heal myself. That would be enough. When Wendy recovered, I didn't visit her upon discharge. I arranged for her transfer to a nursing home instead. I took care of everything. Though she was only in her 50s, her shoulder blade was slashed 3 times, not life-threatening, but affecting her mobility. If she went back to the village, she might die unnoticed. Better to send her to a nursing home where they have funeral services. No matter how long she lives, I won't have to see her again. On my birthday, Linda came to find me at work. "What's up?" I asked. "Come celebrate your birthday," she said, dressed in a hoodie and black pants. She looked fresh and clean, her eyes sincere. "How did you know it's my birthday?" I asked, surprised. She gave me a surprised look back. "Today is your birthday too?" Turns out Linda and I share the same birthday. She came wanting me to join her for cake. "I'm alone here. It's boring to celebrate by myself." "Don't you have friends?" I asked. "No, all my PhD classmates are 30-something. We can talk studies, but not life," she sighed. "Oh, right, she's a genius. Geniuses are always lonely." "How about a bar?" I suggested. "Isn't that what girls her age love?" Linda replied seriously. "Never been, never will. I can't handle alcohol." That I didn't expect. She seemed like the cool party type, but turns out she's a goody two-shoes. But at her age, doing a PhD, she probably didn't have time for partying. Before I agreed to join her birthday celebration, I was alone anyway. Might as well have some company. We headed to the cake shop to pick out a cake. Approaching, I noticed a familiar figure at the entrance. I hesitated, suddenly not wanting to go in. But pausing for just a moment, a car sped towards me. "Watch out!" Linda shouted, combined with the sound of wind. As I fell, I saw the person from the cake shop stumbling towards us. I collapsed into Tina's arms, Linda lying in a pool of blood. The driver was Eric, deemed guilty of financial crimes, about to serve time. According to his confession, he believed it was all my fault. So before going to prison, he wouldn't let me go. Like father, like son, his dad indiscriminately killed, and Eric inherited that trait. Eric looked at Tina standing behind me, crying. "Tina, do you hate me that much?" Tina's face was cold. "Eric, don't ever fall into my hands this lifetime." Leaving the police station, I wanted to go to the hospital, and Tina insisted on coming along. I didn't bother arguing. Linda was still in surgery when we arrived. We only saw nurses coming and going. She must be in pain. She shouldn't have had to bear this. If I hadn't agreed to celebrate her birthday. Eyes brimming with tears, I was suddenly embraced by Tina. "Ben, you're moved, right? I'd risk my life for you too, Tina." That's enough. I don't know where I mustered the strength, but I slapped her hard. "What's going on? Don't you know? Is there only love in your eyes at a time like this? Tina, I've had enough of you." Tina's eyes reddened, but she didn't say a word. After the doctor came out, Linda was wheeled into the ICU. The surgery went well, but she had to be monitored in the ICU. She hadn't woken up for 2 days, and there was a risk she might become unresponsive. My head was buzzing, and I didn't even know how things got to this point. Only one person was allowed in the ICU at a time. I didn't look at Tina again. I just went in alone. As Tina left, a tear hung at the corner of her eye. For 2 whole days, Linda showed no signs of waking up. I was so scared I grabbed her arm, and the tears just wouldn't stop. "Linda, could you wake up, please? She had such a bright future ahead. She shouldn't have ended up like this because of me." I couldn't help but cry out loud. There was nothing I could do. "You promise to marry me, and I'll wake up." A voice suddenly cut in, and without thinking, I nodded. "Okay, I promise. You wake up." She opened her eyes. It hit me. I'd been tricked. I raised my hand but didn't know where to hit, so I just pounded on the bed. "Linda, you—" Her lips were cracked, yet she smiled at me. "Ha, gotcha. I don't care, you promised, so you have to marry me." 2 months later, Linda fully recovered and left the hospital. 2 weeks after that, she and I walked into the wedding venue. She wore the black wedding dress she'd always loved. When we were picking out the dress with Tina, honestly, I liked the black one too, but Tina cared more about what people would think and went with white. But I didn't have to worry about that with Linda. She wore it without a care in the world. The venue was packed with guests. I walked down the aisle alone, and for once there was no annoying chatter, just gasps and compliments. This was how a wedding should feel. Linda took my hand, kissed the back of it, and smiled with such joy. When the officiant asked if we'd stick together through thick and thin, the wheels of fate turned. The doors opened again, but it wasn't Eric who walked in this time. It was Tina. She wore a white wedding dress, stealing the show. "Ben, no, come with me." She stretched out her hand. Linda's face turned cold immediately. "What's this? How'd someone with no invitation get in?" "Bad luck," I said, raising my hand to soothe her shoulder, then looked at Tina. "You should go. My wife is upset." Linda relaxed instantly when I called her my wife. She held my hand and said with a pout, "I'm not mad, just didn't want to see her today." "Then just pretend we didn't," I said, turning away with her hand in mine. We looked into each other's eyes and agreed to be there for each other. As we exchanged rings, I caught sight of Tina's slumped shoulders. Tina, it hurts to see someone you like with someone else, doesn't it? Back then, was I really any better off than you? During the kiss the bride moment, I lifted Linda's veil, leaned in, and caught her lips before she could react. This time it was just a taste. She smiled with squinting eyes, whispered in my ear, "Thanks, big brother. I'm happy even if it's fake." After the wedding ended, and before the guests could leave, some investigators from the prosecutor's office arrived. They came to take Tina for questioning. Yes, I reported her for the charges she falsified against Eric. As for where I got the evidence, I had friends in her company, including the one who sent me Eric and Tina's elevator photos. Tina was taken away. She looked back at me one last time, knowing what kind of trouble she was in for fabricating charges and potential financial crimes. Maybe she might never see me again in this lifetime. She stopped and looked deeply at me. "Ben, what now? You've really become my first love." After Tina left, Linda linked her arm through mine, scoffing. Who cares about her anyway? Then we started handing out red envelopes to the guests. Yeah, all the guests were paid to be there, $1,000 each. I had no choice. Linda insisted on marrying me. The day I agreed in the hospital, she stroked my head and said, "Ben, I was kidding. I couldn't force you like that. I don't do tit for tat. If you don't want to marry me, I get it. But please, could you give me a wedding?" You both had one. And so here was this wedding. After everyone left, it was just the two of us in the huge hall. Linda studied me closely. Curious, I asked, "What are you looking at?" "Looking at you," she replied. I chuckled and asked, "Like that?" She nodded fiercely. "Yeah, because I want to remember you." "Well, since I'm putting you back in the sky, the moon is just the moon. It's not anyone's moon. Big brother, you can always hang there, high and cold. I love the moon. I wouldn't pluck it down. I just chase after it."